Welcome back to the Packers Corner. It turns out the autumn wind was not a Packer quite yet. I think we're trending in that direction, perhaps, but didn't get it done. 31-29 loss against the Vikings here. We got to try a different intro for this week. We'll see you on the other side.
Winning isn't everything, but it's the only thing. In our business, there is no second place. Either you're first or you're last.
It was named after Vince Lombardi. You play in Green Bay. As important as it is to any other team, it means more to us.
When he walked into the meeting, he looked us right in the eye. He said, "Gentlemen, we're going to relentlessly chase perfection."
My first thought was on any play with my arm strength. I may not let anybody know this, but my first thought was home run.
On every play.
On every play.
He did what? Fires into the end zone. Touchdown! No!
Boys, that was a tough one to get through. I was sure glad we at least made a game of it. I wasn't looking forward to the 42-0 trouncing it looked like we were heading towards for a moment there. Dad, you just got a chance to rewatch things, I understand. What was your takeaway? It seemed like a weird game to me. We had a couple controversial calls. What was your sentiment after rewatching things here?
Well, of course, I'm in Canada fishing with my good buddy Craig Danielson, a renowned Viking fan, good buddy that he is. And so it was a good day for him. But we decided to fish. We didn't come in from fishing till right in the fourth quarter. It was just 28-14. Watching it back now, I see the score is actually 28-7 with just under 12 minutes to go in the game. So when you think about it, you got to be kidding me. The boys didn't lay down, and we really could have had that game if not for an ill-advised pass by our buddy Jordan Love, and he had several of them in this game. Watching it back, he had a couple in the first half that could have been picked, so he's got to clean that up. That's become a thing now. Happened in the San Francisco game, happened against Philadelphia, happens here, so I hope he's going to start learning. But that fourth quarter one really hurt. If he just throws that ball away or throws it to the corner and gives only Wicks a chance, we might score with 6 minutes to go, and then we really got a bona fide chance there. It's 22-28. We get the ball, and here we come. So credible as it all was to me, the first half came down as I just rewatched it. Our boy, 58, Isaiah McDuffie, has a ball right in his hands on the first drive. I don't know if you remember, it's right there. And we get the ball in their territory, and all of a sudden we're going in and 7-0 us, right? A little later in that first quarter, I believe, 58 for them goes in and takes one away from Watson, sprains his ankle in the process, and he makes a great catch. And that combined with the two field goal misses and the inexplicable refereeing. I mean, they got every call wrong. The interception wasn't a catch. The other ones were a catch. They give a penalty to LaFleur for trying to call a timeout. I mean, it's just tone deafness. So we're going to be fine. This is a young team that needs to grow up. Talent-wise, we're right there with the Vikings. I would say, just to sum up these initial statements as I try to process my way through just having rewatched this thing, Vikings are playing above their mean right now. They're going to return to the mean. We're playing below our mean. And it's going to be very, very interesting right down the wire with these three teams, Vikings, Detroit, and Green Bay. And it doesn't matter how we're playing now. It matters how we're playing at the end of the year.
Well, that's absolutely true. We saw us get hot at the end of the year last year and look like a totally different team. So there's no doubt that is a big part of what determines who's hoisting the Lombardi at the end of the year. To your comment with the errant throw Jordan had in the fourth quarter there, you're right. You can't miss to the inside on that ball. Yeah. There's no way. However, I really was frustrated with Dontavian Wicks not making a better effort to interfere and do whatever you can to mess up that defensive back. I think you got to go just lay that guy out, and I think he could have made a better play as a defensive back, the wide receiver trying to play defensive back, was my thought watching that one. Overall, you guys are a couple of Jekyll and Hydes on this show. I thought Dontavian Wicks was a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde. He had a lot of really great moments and a couple really frustrating ones too. I think we all are excited about where his talent could take him, but he reminded me of a young Devontae Adams, which has been the tagline forever for him. But if you remember early in Devontae's career, he had a lot of drops that really made you scratch your head, and so I think we saw some of that from Devontae. A lot of people were encouraged. I heard you in the group chat here, Schmitty, to finding the silver lining in this game. I think we got a bit of a problem over here in Minnesota. Am I right to have any nerves about what we're seeing develop over there?
Oh, you certainly do, Griffey. I mean, the team, they look really good. Sam Darnold has played at an MVP level at this point. He's probably top 5 if you started voting today. They looked really good. They got stud wide receivers. JJ's still the man, probably the best receiver in the league, and their defense is opportunistic. They get to the quarterback. They get turnovers of their own. That's a pretty good recipe for some success. And Aaron Jones can still play ball. He's 29 years old. He still has it in the tank. I wish he was still wearing green and gold, but just from that game, it's unlike me to be so positive, Griffey. But
that's what I was getting at. Of course, our viewers didn't get a chance to see that, but you were euphoric after the game.
I was. It says it's very telling about a team to come back down 28-0. You get gifted 7 points in the first half, great. But you close the gap, you make it a 6-point ball game. You seemingly think like, oh my goodness, are we going to get this done? And then Jordan makes a horrendous pick, the one we're seeing right now. You cannot make that mistake. That is, I know Harrison Smith
it's first down again,
reminiscent
to the playoff mistake.
We just got 35 yards on the previous play. You can't do that. That cannot be a mistake. It reminds me, Griffey, of the guy's jersey that he was wearing walking into the stadium. Favre would do that all the time. He would make mistakes like that, silly bonehead mistakes, and you're just questioning what the heck is this guy looking at? And then I thought, who would never do that? Number 12. The guy would never have done that ever in his career. And that made me that was the most bothersome thing of the game. I was pretty happy with the performance besides our kicker and that play by Jordan Love. I know Aaron would never have made that mistake. It was so costly. That was the pivotal moment. There
was a secondary pivotal moment too, which after that, we got the ball back again. We drove down the field, and Tucker Kraft had the ball punched out and a costly fumble. And then we get the ball back with about a little over 2 minutes left, and we score abruptly. And so if we could have just put that drive together on either one of the preceding two, maybe it's a different game. But at the end of the day, it wasn't really a game we deserved to win because of some of those plays. The Vikings got awfully conservative. Now, part of that, we played well down the stretch, but it seemed like they really went into a shell there too. And I think that the other takeaway I have for you guys, curious your thoughts here, but we lose Christian Watson. We're missing Jair Alexander and Carrington Valentine. They're missing Ivan Pace Jr. and TJ Hawkinson. I think neither of these teams are going to really look exactly quite like what they did this week. There's going to be a lot of maturation and growth, and we just got to see who takes bigger strides the rest of the way here. What's your feeling on what this matchup might look like at the end of the year, Schmitty?
Well, I'd like to think that we're playing a meaningful game to win the title of the division. Honestly, I still think the Packers are one of the best teams in the league. The Vikings are just very surprisingly this good and now at the top of the league. I really think that these two are going to be neck and neck. Now we have some catch up to do from this loss and the one against the Eagles, but I still maintain that this team will be competing for meaningful football in January, and I think it's going to come down right to that game at the end of the year with the Vikings. As far as the makeup of the teams, like you said, you get both these teams get healthy. You would imagine now you're going to lose. You always expect to lose someone key and crucial to the team during the NFL season. That it happens week in, week out. But for the most part, both these teams are really deep. So I think we can withstand some injury problems and still beat some pretty good ball clubs. So I'd expect these teams to be 1-2 in the NFC.
Jimmy, do you think maybe you'll be wearing your typical podcast attire for a little pregame action for that Viking Packer game? Any chance of that?
My pregame attire. You want me to
Well,
wear
your podcast attire for the pregame. Your podcast attire, of course, being
would you,
the setup we see this
no,
evening.
Yeah, of course, Griffey. But I might have I don't know. I might have a blood alcohol level of 0.18.
A beer
for
jacket.
that game.
Okay,
So,
I see.
Yeah. So I'm ready for it. I think we're gonna get there.
Do you wear a shirt at work?
No, I don't, Griffey. I just wear a suit coat over the top, and that's how I roll, baby.
There you go. Business on the outside, party on the inside, we could say.
Yes, sir.
Dad, I want to talk a little bit about the running back comparison. Schmidt alluded to Aaron Jones still appearing to have something left in the tank there. Josh Jacobs had 9 carries, 51 yards. Aaron Jones, 22 times they gave him the ball. We didn't see them do that in Green Bay very often, use him as a bell cow like that. 93 yards. Doesn't find the end zone. He was talking a lot about Lambeau leaping before the game. So if there was one victory, it was that we didn't have to watch that guy jump into the south end zone stands or anything like that. What'd you think about the running back performance?
Well, it was all dictated by the nature of the game. We didn't have Jacobs in the game because we were way behind. They clearly wanted to feature Jonesy, and we love Jonesy. I'm sad to see him go. I wish Goody could have figured out a way. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old and nostalgic and pining for Aaron Jones to finish his career in Green Bay. I think there was a way to get that done, but who knows what the inside negotiations were. In a couple of years, it'll probably look fine. But I really think the key to the game was something you mentioned a minute ago. Our starting corners did not play the game, or 2 of our best corners. I don't know if Valentine is a starter, but he maybe should be. But without Jair and without Valentine, it seemed quite clear to me that Hafley and Jerry Shell in the first half, there was no pressure on. That was kind of the difference. No pressure on the quarterback. They get the interception from their linebacker. We don't. The breaks, we missed 2 field goals. We got those goofy calls at the end. That could have very well been, even with their scoring like a 21-13 or 21-17 game at halftime. And then you will see Jacobs in the game running the ball. But we had to come from behind, which we did a good job of. So give the Vikings credit. They took advantage of what was there for them. I just think that we will look back at some point in the season and this game will seem like an eternity ago and it will be irrelevant. Provided we go ahead and take care of business and get a victory at the Metrodome, the bank now, right? Yeah. And so if we do that later in the season, this thing will seem fine. It seems to me, though, and I agree with you guys, okay, situational football. We've said this before, young players telling them, boys, when it's your time to make a play, we got to make. Here we are again. McDuffie doesn't make the play. Wicks doesn't make several plays. He probably did make some, and the refs didn't give him the catch, but that's not what won or lost the game. It certainly turned a tide against us in a big way. But so this young Tucker Kraft, situational football, you have to get out of bounds. If you're not going to get out of bounds, you got to put 2 hands on the ball. The Viking guy made a great situational football play, punched the ball out, right? He knew he had help coming, so he punched the ball out for the turnover. We need to be the team that makes those smart plays. So as I say, give the Vikings credit for making smart plays. Jordan Love, we've got to see this stop. First down, please. Schmitty, this is a play that doesn't happen because you know for the play. You don't have to have the play dictate to you. It's first down. I'm not going to do anything foolish with the football in this situation. If that's a 4th down play, you get it, right, guys? This is situational football, and we got to have a quarterback who can do that. I think he will, but it's been a trend now that somebody's got to knock some sense into him. Think the game, and be prepared to make the play that's there situationally.
Got to give a little tip of the cap to Brian Flores on the way he drew up that pressure. He knew he'd seen Aaron Rodgers do it. He knew what Jordan Love was going to do when he brought that 0 blitz at that time in the game. he was going to take a shot downfield. And if you watch the corner, he came up in press and bailed hard. They knew exactly what we were going to do. And oftentimes you see Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love knowing exactly how the defense is going to play. We saw those crosser comeback to the sideline routes work to great success against the Cowboys back in the playoffs. Something where they're just a step ahead. And on that one, Flores was just a step ahead. Nonetheless, it doesn't turn into the pick like it was unless Jordan Love misses that to the inside. So that was too bad to see.
That ball has to be on the outside on the sideline. As you say, it cannot be thrown.
Yep.
That's just 101. It's almost – so hopefully we don't see that anymore because Jordan Love has a ton of talent.
Now, you talked a little bit about nostalgia for seeing a longtime Packer finish his career in the green and gold. Do you have any nostalgia or desire to see an old number 17 finish his career in green and gold? We got Christian Watson out sidelined. We received a first and a second rounder a few years ago for Davante Adams. Maybe we just call that a first rounder and we'll take him back. Any thoughts of doing anything like that, Schmitty?
Can we find some way to get Christian Watson over there? Can we rehabilitate him, send him to Germany, get him some new knees, and get him the heck over to Las Vegas, and we get Davante in return? Maybe we send him a second round pick as.
His quarterback didn't help him stay off the injured list. He threw him right into traffic.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
poor kid got crumpled because of 10. Jordan, I'm just hoping that we keep going back to that play, but I'm just hoping that this isn't a look into the future of his career where you're just these pivotal moments and he just comes up short, makes a mistake like he did last season to end the run.
We said it at the time, that can't be a regular occurrence, but when you make a throw that's as bad as the one, particularly to end the year at San Francisco, that was so astounding, so shocking that I think that's something deep within the kid, unfortunately. I'm a little nervous. No single play made me as nervous about a quarterback as that one. You saw Aaron Rodgers go a career without doing that, to your point, Schmitty.
Yes.
And now he's out again.
Bring on Davante. And now he's out again. Yeah. Bring Davante back, Griffey. You gotta love the guy, an all-time Packer. If you get a guy like that for always at the right price, right? That's whatever the price is. If it's the right price, you pull the trigger. I think he'll.
They want a second rounder in a package. It sounds like, and that's why I say maybe we cancel out that second rounder they sent us.
Yeah. Maybe we do that, but I think he's on his way to wear some green and white color, some green and white type of colors, and receiving some balls from old number 8 now.
Bo Nix was about 7 for 16 for -7 yards in the first half, and he outdueled Aaron Rodgers. If I'm Davante Adams, I don't know if that's where I want to go.
It would just be great. Just go to the Vikings. Just put me out of my misery. Go to the Vikings. I
didn't even think of that one. That would be something.
Yeah.
Well, let's look ahead a little bit here, Dad. We got the Rams that we play next week here. They just got taken out by Caleb Williams, the least favorite, the official least favorite player of the pod, except for Schmitty, I guess. What do you think about what that might look like in a week's time?
Well, first of all, I have to say, just ship Davante right over to the Jets immediately so he can play this week against the Vikings in London, and let's get it done. Go Davante, go Aaron, and
go. And you know what? Before we jump into the next game, I did want to hear your awards. I think you might have a frozen mustache for us there, Dad.
There was a loyal subscriber of ours who said that I deserved the frozen stiff mustache.
There it is.
For not indicating that the key matchup to the game was Kenny Clark on the center for the Vikings, Garrett Bradbury. Yep. And I think I did say that a key to the game was going to be Jeff Hafley unleashing a rush on Sam Darnold, which he was loath to do in the first half. So I'm taking the frozen stiff mustache off of me. And of course, I would never put it on a loyal subscriber. I appreciate him, making his opinion known. But And again, I think that Hafley was trying to protect those corners. He didn't want to send extra guys so that he could have deep shell over the top of Addison and Jefferson with those backup corners playing. So I think Hafley, if certainly in the second half, he came with the blitz and it looked a lot better. So I would just say I think that was a kid game, and it wasn't a one-on-one matchup. But anyway, I got my tongue in my cheek a little bit. But Mr. Narveson, you may wear the frozen stiff mustache, and I'll put it on for you here temporarily, kind of sideways. And I'm sorry, I love the kid, but no, it's done. It's over. It's not.
He's on the roster as of today, which means he gets paid for the week. Are they going to trot him out there this weekend?
Did you hear? He couldn't make any in warmups. So we have blundered again. I mean, Carlson missed 9, had 9 misses in 12 games, and now we've got 3 misses in 4 games. And the only game that he didn't miss one, he did miss it, but it was negated by penalty. The poor kid, he needs to go to the minor leagues or something and confidence back, because this is just not working. I heard some rumblings. We have a kicker on the practice squad, you may recall, and there's been some reporting that he's making progress. So anything's better than what we got going now, because it isn't even bad weather time in Lambeau. This is easy time. So I
got a name for you, and I'm curious. I feel like Schmitty will have an opinion on this one. How do you feel about Brandon McManus?
Day 3, Griffey. It's day 3 that we haven't signed him. We get him on the roster tomorrow morning. We cannot have Mr. Narveson kicking footballs for us any longer. He will, Griffey, just like I thought Carlson would cost us games last season. Guess what, Griffey? He did. He cost us the most crucial game of the season. And unfortunately, we still got a guy that's going to do the very same thing. We got a very good roster. No one will question that. But we have one glaring problem, and that's our kicker again. You should be spending, Mr. Gutekunst, get this figured out today, tonight. You got to start making calls. We cannot go a season with a guy that's already missed 3 field goals under, 50 yards? It cannot be. This cannot be the way that we complete a season. He cannot be the kicker.
I really want him to be the guy. I like the kid. I can't really defend it either here at this point.
There's a statistic out that in the NFL this year, there have been 116 kicks from inside the 40. 115 of them have been made. The guy owning the ignominious distinction of missing that one wears Donnie Anderson's old number for the Green Bay Packers. That's probably the problem. You can't put Donnie Anderson's number on a kicker, for crying out loud. Something's wrong. But we got a big problem with we're talking about kickers. How about our punter? He's an all-pro. Every time he hits it, it's a howitzer going 50 yards, and the guy can't catch the ball, muffs it, and he's a potent weapon. Maybe he can kick field goals, Schmitty.
He's doing our onside work, Gar. He's our onside guy, apparently.
Well, speaking of that onside, we tried a drop kick, and it was not fruitful. We need to go back to the drawing board on that one. You got to at least have a realistic attempt at the onside kick. Maybe he showed something in practice, but that was brutal execution.
I liked it. Hit the guy's hand. It bounced away. It was free for a second.
We had a 0% chance on that. It was one of the lowest likelihood onside kicks I've ever seen.
We're going to have a wrestling match over that one, and I'm in trouble. I'll never win that one. But doggone it, I'm going to give you everything I got for about 3 seconds. And
Najee Davenport, can we get him back to kick maybe? Yeah, there's another 44 for you.
James Starks?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was, wasn't
he? That's a good 44.
That was a good one. Anyway, I really wish we could have Tim Couch and Najee Davenport at the same time. I always thought that would have been a nice ensemble. Now we can dive into the Rams game a little bit. They're, of course, beat up too. But in all likelihood, no Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua. They're going to be throwing Tutu Atwell, and who do they have? Tyler Johnson and Demarcus Robinson and Colby Parkinson. Don't they have their tight ends out too? So they got a bit of a ragtag scuffle of guys there. They lost to the Bears, of course. So let's dive into what you guys think about that one. The only thing I'm a little bit nervous about with the Rams here, Schmitty, is they kind of are desperate for a win at this point in time. You don't want to play against a desperate team in the NFL. What do you think about all that?
You think? I mean, just go back a couple weeks ago to the Niners game with those two. I mean, McVay will throw everything he has in that playbook at us on Sunday. Make no question about it. He gets the boys humming for games like this, games that he really cares about.
LaFleur and McVay, they get up for one another.
Make no mistake, he'll have everything ready to go at seconds' notice on Sunday afternoon. We really need Jair Alexander, don't we? That seems like a pretty big key to this whole deal on defense. That was one of my call outs at the beginning of the season, one of my bold predictions that he wouldn't be playing very much for us and come halfway through the season. He's the primetime player. We can't have two guys out, but if we can just have Valentine out, sure. We can't have Ja out. He really makes this whole thing go. They're in a really bad situation, the Rams are, with pass catchers having Puka and the other very, very good all-pro
Cooper
pass catcher. Thank you, Cooper Kupp. I don't see how we don't win this game on Sunday. When they're so depleted, I think they're loose. They have a tackle that's out as well. This is just a game you have to win, right? Like you look at the schedule. You just lost a really hard-fought game against the Vikings, one you might have been able to come back. This just needs to be one of those get-right games. And so I don't think we're going to do that, Griffey. I don't think we're going to get right. I think this is going to be a miserable failure of a game. We are going down with the ship, Griffey. I am looking at electrical outlets. I'm getting PTSD. We're going to lose, Griffey. We're going to lose by 6 points, 23-17. I'm going to be sad. That sad family that goes to the Washington Commanders games, they're the happiest. They jumped ship, Griffey. Remember they made that long pilgrimage to Lambeau Field? Mommy and Dad are practically making love in the 700 section. Yeah, they're Commanders fans. They love that. They love your good friend Jayden Daniels now. Griffey, we're going to lose this game on Sunday. People are going to turn. It's going to get ugly, my friend. This season, Jordan Love's going to throw bad picks. They got tape on him now. Griffey, this can't be how it goes for us.
I thought you were optimistic about our trajectory.
No, Griffey, I'm Griffey, I'm the most unstable person you know, Griffey. You can't. I'm texting you saying everything's okay. We're fine. You believe me? Jesus. We are in trouble, dude. God.
Well, if one thing gives me some solace here is let's before we dive into my dad's picks, let's put our records up on the board here. And I don't know if it's cooperating with me. I might have to do it the old-fashioned way here. Let's see what we can come up with. Well, I'll just tell you the record. The record's 0-4 for you, Schmitty. You haven't got a game right the whole time because you just picked the Packers. We had the clean sweep of the Packers. You're 0-4. So keep the trend going, and we're all going to feel mighty fine, I suppose, huh?
You know what? Nothing would make me happier if I go in 0-17 this year and I start picking against the Packers every week. God, if I'm the key to this all, I would love it, Griffey.
Dad, what are your thoughts on the game here? And then this isn't going to be our closing segment. I do want to go around the rest of the NFC North before we close off, too.
There we go. Well, I think the Packer management and team is going to get wind of this distraught fan over here in the western side of Wisconsin, and they're going to play this video of Schmitty all red-faced and red-chested and front of the whole team, and that the team is going to go, we've got to deliver this guy or he's going to be no longer with us. His wife Melissa is going to be a widow because the toaster's flying around the house. So I think as a result, Schmitty, I think you might deserve credit for this. I think Schmitty is going to single-handedly get the Packers turned around, mainly because if they don't win this one, they're in deep trouble. So they're a desperate team too. The Rams are desperate. So are the Packers. I hope Jordan Love is desperate to prove he can start thinking the game. and think situation. And you know what, Schmitty? If I'm Matt LaFleur and it's first down and I've sent in a call, I go, Jordan, it's first down. Remember what that means? We don't make any dumb throws like we did against San Francisco and against the Vikings. We got to stop that. So one little reminder in the ear, Coach LaFleur, if that's what it takes. And then if that doesn't get done, he needs a good foot right up the rear, because we got to stop this poor decision-making from the quarterback, because quarterback's ultra talented and got a lot of potential, but it's time now that we see some better decision making, and I think we will this week. We're going to see about 28-17 Packers.
We get it done. I like it. For all the talk about Aaron Rodgers and not throwing picks, it was a little refreshing to see a gunslinger out there. I like, taking a chance here or there. It harkened me back to the good old days when we had a quarterback we could love and respect, and he was out there playing injured for his team. We gave him a hard time before. I loved seeing he rocked the Favre jersey into the game, of course, and I think he has one of those Favre games where everything just comes together this coming week, where he's making throws that nobody in their right mind would make, but he pulls a couple of them off. Well, how about that for a turnabout face? I look to see that from Jordan Love. Now, that said, I do enjoy the gunslinger mentality, especially when you're behind to some extent. He almost got us back in the game because of that. Let's just eliminate the really bad mistake, and we'd be much happier. So look forward to Jordan giving that a shot moving forward here. I do want to touch on the Lions and the Bears briefly. Schmitty, we saw the Lions have a pretty impressive performance against the Seattle Seahawks last night. What do you think about those guys and where they stack up in the ranks of what's shaping up to be a fairly tough NFC North?
This is the best division in football. I think we've called that out before the season started. This is, now that even the Bears are a 2-win organization, this is the best division in football. Make no mistake about it. The Lions looked absolutely fantastic yesterday. Jared Goff, perfect passer rating. I don't think he threw a completion, caught a touchdown, for God's sakes. The Lions are just a fun ball club. They have a really good defense still. They know how to get after the passer. I love their duo of running backs, maybe the best tandem in the league. So I really like the Lions. Even their offense has some nice pieces. Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra. That's just a really good club. I mean, they made the NFC Championship game for a reason last year. I would not be surprised if this is a 3-headed race late into the season, weeks 14, 15, where your margin for error is razor thin, because you're getting a bye, you're getting a couple playoff games at home, or you're on the road for the entirety of the playoff run. So really curious to see how this all shakes out. We just got to have a quarterback that doesn't make boneheaded mistakes, and I think we'll have a chance at this. Can I talk a little bit about my Caleb Williams there, Griffey?
Please do. I'm just happy I got the records to show up here. I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, 0-4, soon to be 1-4. Looking forward to it.
I sure hope
Caleb
not.
Williams, Griffey, paint whatever colored nails you want. You got 2 wins in the NFL football season, my friend. As
You're
a rookie.
giving him credit for that first win still? I think that should be stricken from the record.
Yes, Griffey. Yes, you must. The guy has all the talent. There's no question there. Would anyone deny that man that he doesn't have the same arm talent as your top tier passers in the league? Come on, he has it in spades. I think
the ceiling is Kyler Murray, and Kyler's a lot quicker than he is.
You don't think that?
I'm a
it's
hater.
gonna have to be a long thing, but we're gonna have to recap this at the end of the year, the end of next year, the year
sure
after
will.
that. Caleb Williams will have a better career than Jayden Daniels. Make no mistake about it, Griffey. Okay.
I don't think so.
I'll go to. I know you don't think so. So that's why it's a thing for us to keep track of. Write this down, Packers Corner, our subscribers. Someone take note of this. That Mr. Caleb will have a better career than Jayden Daniels, and so
I think the ceiling's Kyler Murray, but I would take Kyler 10 times out of 10 over this kid.
Right. He just because he has a man purse and probably drives a white Prius or something. He's self-conscious about the the world that we live in and cares about the butterflies and whatever else and feelings and so things of that nature. He's a great kid, Griffey. You should be really excited about him being in our division because he's going to snatch a lot of joy away from us in our coming lifetime. So looking forward to that.
29.9 QBR. He's
that.
29th in the league QBR. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Dad, what are your thoughts around the division here?
My head is spinning here. I take all this in from Schmitty. Caleb Williams, Ted Williams, the Williams sisters. What's this?
Ted Williams. Now there's an athlete.
This doesn't have anything to do with the Green Bay Packers. Then what's this analysis of the Detroit Lions defense? They just gave up 500 yards to Seattle and had to have a perfect passer rating to win that game. They gave up 500 yards to the Seattle Chicken Hawks. And Geno Smith, like the second coming of Elijah the prophet, they make him look like. So no, Detroit does not have a venerable defense. They're shoddy. They're moth-eaten. They're full of holes. And we got all this Caleb Williams talk and the Venus Williams and Serena Williams and Ted Williams and whatever else. But the Packers are going to be just fine. Don't you worry about it. We got to talk about the Jets. What's going on with the Jets and Aaron Rodgers? Look, good Lord, was that a pitiful thing? It looked like they got the rookie quarterback back there again. The guy they traded, he gets beat by Bo Nix and scores 9 points. What happened there, boys? I want to hear your input on that.
Well, this is without having seen the game, but I'm imagining it probably looked a lot like what we saw his final year in Green Bay when I was pining for Jordan Love to start. I'm thinking that's probably about what I was pining the year before, if you recall, after that New Orleans. He went on the darkness retreat, and then we laid an egg against the Saints, and I said it was time for Jordan Love back then. But really, it was his last year in Green Bay for me. I don't know what your guys' recollection is. I was in pain watching him. It was the worst quarterback play I'd seen for the Packers in my life, in all honesty, considering that I got to watch Brett Favre starting out. So I think it probably looked like that for those folks in New York, and I could have told them that's what they were signing up for.
Yeah, I didn't see much of the game either. But you can't lay a dud against the Broncos, that's for sure. Nathaniel Hackett, remember the golden years where we had the best red zone percentage, I think, in the league history. And so you had that at one point, and you can't even replicate that, or you can't even come close to that. That's a real bad look. I'm a little worried. I think old Vikings might be blowing that damn fake horn all day Sunday in London.
Have another conquest over there in the UK. Every time they see the Vikings come to town, they get a little bit nervous given their historical facts there. It might feel like that for the Jets over there. I think you might be onto something, Schmitty.
The problem is, Griffin Schmitty, is that Rodgers at the line and he's pointing to his ear, and then he's pointing to his nose, and he's pointing to his chin. He's hitting himself on the butt, and the receivers are supposed to know what it means, and he's changing the count, and he's not running the play. And we saw this with Matt LaFleur, and it's not working. And then at the end of the game, the coach says, yeah, maybe we better stick to a more basic count. And Rodgers says, well, maybe we should just be more disciplined. There's a fissure and a fracture there. I hope they get it figured out this week because I'll be cheering for him against the Vikings. But it looks like maybe Mr. Rodgers is going to find a way to retire. But I hope they get it together. I hope they put something out there.
Well, Aaron was always giving Matt LaFleur a hard time about this pre-snap motion deal, right? And I think the Jets are about third lowest in plays with motion in terms of total count of plays this year. The only team that's got a successful offense that doesn't do very much motion are the Washington Commanders because they're letting Jayden Daniels throw a lot of screens and get the ball out quick. The Packers, by far and away, lead the NFL in plays with pre-snap motion, and we've had a more effective offense than the Jets with Malik Willis playing 2 games. So, there's the jury's still out a little bit, but I think Matt LaFleur really deserves a lot of credit for the way he calls and designs plays and offenses, and Aaron Rodgers really wasn't having it. So we'll see how his offense works out the rest of the way in New York, but I'm glad we touched base on that one. Guys, any final thoughts for our viewers this evening? Schmitty, I'll let you cap it off on your end here.
We lead the league in motion, right, Griffey? You just made it a point. We do that, and we do it well because we have a guy, number 11, who is incredibly talented at playing football, in Jayden Reed. And so if you have a chance in hell on Sunday, you're going to use him in a bunch of different ways. I'm scared that this game is going to determine the fate of our season. But if Jayden Reed has something to say about it, he gives the Packers the best chance to win this ball game with a nice dose of number 8. So it's not all worrisome just yet. I haven't started gathering forks and knives to start poking holes into outlets, but we're starting to get there, Griffey. I'm going to start playing around with electrical items. Just give myself a little shock. Maybe I'm at work. I'll just jab a paper clip at my desk into some sockets just to give myself a little jingle,
You need like a stress ball or something, my friend.
No, I want to feel the shock. I want to feel my heart skip once or twice. I'm looking forward to that. And then if we do lose Sunday, you might not see me. You might need Derek Crumry to come in and do a guest spot because I'll be 6 inches below in my bathtub with the toaster hanging inside of it. So, God, please, Jayden Reed, save us all. Go Pack.
Well, Dad, we're just going to put that to the side for a moment here and let that man deal with his inner demons. Well, maybe we'll have a chat after the podcast here, Schmitty. But Jayden Reed is someone who all of us on the podcast, but you and I in particular, Dad, were very high on. And I don't think in my wildest dreams I could have been as high as you would have to be now based on what we're seeing out on the field there. He's incredible.
Yeah, he is. And he's kind of an overachiever. He needs to be the leader for that group. We need to see Devontae Wicks pick it up and start because Wicks has a lot of talent too. And Tay Wicks, yeah. And I think they'll get there. They're a little inconsistent right now, but we got to help Schmitty. We got to get Schmitty that champagne bottle on one shoulder and the toaster on the other. And we got to lean toward that champagne bottle again so that we keep him in good shape. But if he needs a little stimulation, he should go to my cousins on the farm. And the cousins on the farm would always get the city kids in there, and they first thing they'd say, Schmitty, is put your hand out. You ever seen a match burn twice? No. They'd light the match, boom, and then put it out and put it on your hand. Shh. That'll give you a little jolt. And then right after they do that, they say, come over here to the electric fence, and they grab both hands on the electric fence and watch all the muscles in your forearms pulse up and down. And you'll get a good jolt like that, and you won't need that toaster anymore. Then you'll just drink some champagne, and everything will be good again. So we're here to save you, Schmitty. If you need any help, I'll take you right out to Wanderers, Wisconsin, and we'll go visit those cousins on the farm, and everything will be better again.
If you really need a shock, they'll put a firecracker right in your back pocket, won't they?
I forgot about that one. Yeah, right at the 4th of July, right at the Wanderers ball fields there. Yeah, you get to put a little firecracker, light it, and stick it in the hip pocket. You got a big bruise on your cheek in the morning.
Well, one final word of advice for all those, testing this out and maybe grabbing an electrical fence to get a little bit of a thrill. Don't try that one sitting down. That doesn't work very well for you. At least, have some rubber-soled shoes on and stand upright. I would not recommend sitting down for the electric. I tried that one myself by accident.
Stand in a puddle or
No, we won't do that. So, well, hey, I got one thought to leave you here, Schmitty. Remember, when the Saints come marching down, keep New Orleans in mind. We've got a destination at the end of the year. That's where we got to manifest this all to head. And maybe we'll have a little jazz music next time. Whatever it takes. I'm thinking
we need to win a ball game.
We're talking about February. We're talking about February. That's that. We didn't toast champagne to start the season for no reason. So let's keep that in mind.
Let's keep.
Good to be with you guys.
Yeah.
Go Pack. Love you all.
I got the cheese, and we'll see you next week.